I am right here, FYI. I am just like when you see if anybody shows up or whatever. I'm not really expecting much of anybody, but I have the air conditioner running at the moment as well, so if it's too loud, awesome messages. Hello. As usual, we'll wait and see if anybody else shows up. Where have I been? I don't know. I was not feeling well and stuff, so I mean, everybody's got my phone number. I thought nobody reached out to me saying anything was going on or anything big or whatnot. Did something happen? All right, turn off the air conditioner. I just I went on for a few days. I had to work and I wasn't feeling all that great, stuff like that. No big deal, at least I thought. Did something occur or happen in my? Well, I mean, it's not like I've been absent. Honestly, I was on here for Sibby's birthday. I've been went into Diana's chat and says hi to him. I've been in plenty of other chats and stuff in the days that I haven't been around. So, not the tip narrative. What about it? I'm more than happy to answer any questions or whatnot involving Delphi. Even though, yeah, it is what it is. No post from me or somebody else. Hey, what's up, Shibby? I mean, I have been around. I just haven't had any lives for a few days. That's all. I've been having to work damn near overnights or whatnot, fixing those machines and stuff. So I just haven't been on to have a live or whatever. The tip narrative. Uh, oh, um, well, I mean, I haven't heard much anything lately as far as anybody else is concerned. I think Peggy called me, and then because I was busy, and it was really loud where I was. So I'm like, hey, let me call you back when it's not loud, unless you want to do this during, text wise. She didn't want to do it by text. Finally did when I reached out. I guess she's mad at me now, and I'm like, I don't understand. I just don't. But yeah, I'm not able to do the electric work, but I'm 15 volumes of evidence. Well, I honestly, that's just a bunch of stuff I need to go through because it's good to do other things. I fixed a few things. Oh, I always have things fixed. I mean, I think only my computer is the only thing left that I have to do technically that needs fixing. Uh, well, people were always mad at me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know who I'm talking about, fucker. But no, I mean, everybody acting like they don't know what it is. Motherfuckers, I'll put y'all my phone number and everything else. If y'all really wanted to reach out to me, there's plenty of other ways. Uh, I have Discord. I have email. Well, right now she hates me too. I don't even know why. I just told her I was at work. But it's okay. I get it. Charles is a whole hateable, kind of person. Let the heat blow through you like water. All eyeshadow the link for evidence. Eyeshadow the link for evidence. Huh? Oh, All Eyes has the link for evidence. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Yeah, I saw some of her a post that she had made recently or whatever on when I was on my spirit just now, and it's just like I keep waiting on somebody to make me a good case or a good reason or whatever, and somehow, some way, that Richard Allen couldn't be involved. I'm just still waiting on it. Honestly, that's why I started talking about other cold cases and shit. It's not that I have any disrespect for anybody's opinion or whatever. It's just I don't know. Am I turned out? Not really. It's just I don't know. I don't want to say it the way that I want to say it because if I say it that way, it sounds mean or whatever. It's like okay. The majority of people that are willing to talk about stuff involving Richard Allen usually, how do I say it? They don't even know like half the details of the case that they're talking about, and that's what, I mean. I'm always involved in other cases, and that's for a fact. Trust me, I've got multiple ones going at the moment in time that I was probably going to start talking about. And then, like I said, I got the Zizians going to trial and everything coming up and stuff. And I don't know. Like I said, when it goes by case basis or whatever, I tend to rather listen to people that know the damn near about as much as me. If you don't know as about about a case as me, then yeah, you probably shouldn't be arguing about it because you have to look at it from both or all perspectives to try to find the right reasoning. And too many people, especially in the Delphi's consideration, jumped into this case right away going, "Oh, he's innocent." Well, why? Tell me why he's innocent. Because the jury found him guilty. So now it's your turn to prove his innocence or appellate or whatever. And I think, yeah, the simplest questions I've even asked of people in the Delphi community is, can you give me a reason that would eliminate Richard Allen from being able to commit this crime or being involved with it? And Peggy talking about the timeline at first before anybody else was probably what I would consider something like that. Because if you can somehow bring that timeline down to around an hour or less, it just plain out says plenty to me because then it starts becoming harder and harder to do because after trial they change their mind. About what? Well, yeah, you got to understand these are appellate lawyers. They don't work exactly on an innocence kind of thing. They work on the way the trial went and this, that, and the other, and whether or not they could possibly. It's like a technicality thing, you know, like if someone's rights were violated some shape or somehow. You know what I mean? And I get that, but that's the appellate lawyers, FYI. That's what their role usually is. It's not. They're not usually the types to go after innocents. You know. Now the post conviction, the stuff that's not involving appeals and stuff. Now that would consider more along the lines of people still working on his innocence. Like I think like the Innocence Project and stuff like that. They would be working like post conviction and all that stuff. Now it could be wrong too, but you know I've never been big on the whole trial aspect. But you know it's pretty obvious in its own way. Why some things are the way they are and those other don't. Shit, maybe another interview with a juror or whatever, because the last two were fucking atrocious, you know. And I'm more than open. At one point, I think after all the O.J. Simpson stuff, I was literally thinking about maybe he didn't do it on multiple occasions, maybe. but one way, shape, or form, they were never able to provide any evidence to put this alternate suspect right there or what there and all this other shit. And then on top of that, there's just too much shit against OJ. I mean, I get it. He had a badass lawyer, Johnny Cochran, and everything else, who was able to pull what I would call the distract. He liked to distract people from the actual evidence themselves, or in some cases, he even used the evidence as a way to distract. It's like, guys, really? And yeah, like I said, it all depends on what made the lawyers or whatever change their ideas. You'd have to ask Osbrook and shit on the people like that about that. If I do remember right, I feel like uh, what's her name? The blonde chick, I think, and I think maybe Osbrook, but I can't be sure, something like that. I think those are probably the best ones to talk to, I guess, when in regards to that's concerned. Um, I mean, do I honestly think it would? I would have to now that it's been so many years. I'd have to literally go through the entire O.J. Simpson thing all over again, and then add up. I couldn't offer my perspective or whatever in regards to it at the moment. But I do remember back then, when I see, because back then I knew a lot about the serial killers and all that stuff, cases in the news, all this other crap. But I wasn't big on watching the actual trials themselves and all that shit, kind of, you know. And I think it was more like a Casey Anthony thing when I started to pay attention to stuff like trials and George Ramirez and Trayvon Martin stuff, shit like that. Or that I finally paid attention to that aspect of the whole thing. But I would have to see what they were filing for. And what's your opinion on OJ? It's not going to bother me either way it goes. I've gone back and forth between I think he's uh, guilty to somebody else could have done it. So yeah, you're not going to cause any anger or aggression to come out of me. It's just because you might think he's innocent or something like that. Definitely possible. Uh, Thor Christensen, a serial killer, puts himself in the area. Also, does Ed Edwards, another known serial killer, puts himself in the area of Nicole Brown and Ronald Goldman's murder. Uh, just in the fact that OJ could have paid somebody to do it, all kinds of different reasons. OJ's son was another reason I stopped and had to think things through and reprocess them because I guess the son of OJ's that was a chef or whatever. Um, yeah, it's just things just never added up, and the only ones that seemed to actually add up every single time was the fact that it seemed to be that OJ had the most to gain or whatever else, and there were signs of not blood thirst or whatever, but it was a crime of passion or whatnot, and these other individuals would not have had that level of passion. Now OJ would have. You know what I mean? Like I've seen like Ronald Goldman, if I remember right, was like a black belt in some shit or whatever, and whoever did the crime was easily able to take him out without him being able to do much of anything damage wise to them. Now, I mean, a well trained fighter. I'm not saying that the crime scene either, because yeah, it's just like it seems like somebody who goes into a fucking psychotic rage. They came up. Ronald Goldman didn't know what was going to happen. I'm not even sure if he even saw. I think I've heard back and forth details that maybe Ronnie got into a fight with this person. So I mean, there's only a certain. Like I said, I'd probably rather like to go through the whole thing all over again. But I do think it's a little weird to put everything on uh, uh, Dennis, the cop, the detective guy, who we still have to hear about to this day, even. I think he's in Colorado or some shit now, but yeah, I tend not to believe the whole story about most of the people when they bring up things like, the police are working this massive conspiracy and that. Okay, I'll contemplate that. I really will. But at the same time, you know how many people that would involve in such a thing like cover-ups or anything like that's concerned? And all it takes is one person to go to the feds, one person to be the downfall on the whole thing. It's just like when you have accomplices in a crime. The more accomplices you have, the more chances you have of somebody snitching you out. That's why most of these crimes they go cold for so long and stuff. When it seems obvious, they should already have a possibility or maybe a who or whatever. Um, if you do check, when they finally do figure out who does it, it's usually a lone person. But yeah, later on tonight, I got to do a reshuffling of the mods in here. I got at least one or so, probably a couple of them that I need to get rid of. If all you're really about is Delphi, well, I'm sorry, unless there's some sort of catastrophic, whatever kinds of information that involves such things, I'm probably gonna stop, talking about it. Not completely. I do have a floor thing that we're going to be doing soon, and all this other stuff. Um, you know, I just don't want to keep giving cases the light of day. It's one thing if I'm bringing up like or like I use like a collection of say serial killer cops. Yeah, the majority of them have already been caught or have been identified, even though they're passed away and all this other stuff. But in reality, I use those things to fill up I guess, the time frame or whatever, because there's at least multiple members of the cops that haven't been caught. So yeah, and if we ever get into like random double homicides and stuff. Oh, sure. I'm happy to bring Delphi up, but it's just I just keep looking for something, some sort of evidence, some kind of anything. Yeah, and another aspect, I think Casey and Anthony, I've gone back and forth on whether or not I thought she was guilty or innocent. And it's not like, honestly, you should take, well, as I told everybody in the past, how you should conduct an investigation is go with nothing in your mind whatsoever. You have to look up every single detail on all sides, every single fucking detail that actually has provable evidence that it exists. If it does not, then you got to toss it aside. You may not want to, but that's just. She was definitely guilty. She's beyond guilty. Um, I can't even stand the fact that I'm from the same state that found somebody as guilty as Casey Anthony fucking guilty. I mean, I've never been actually selected for jury duty. I've been sent things, and then right before I go up there, they cancel on me or something like that, and say the person made a deal and blah blah blah. I'm like, oh, okay. Never even had to find much, except for one time, and it was the year before they did that Wade Wilson trial shit. Right? I it was crazy weird too because I had heard about this in the past. When they have high profile cases and they're probably going to be televised and on court TV and all this other shit, that you will get your jury summons in a very, very odd fashion. So when they said in Delphi, hey, this is how we're going to get the jury, I was like, oh shit, I know exactly what that's like. Because I was able to take pictures and all that other crap of the stuff they sent me in my county in Florida in the same regards. I still have it. Um, I always thought the jury has to know nothing about the case, the victims, the perpetrator or alleged perpetrator, all that stuff. That is not the case. Um, and in the case of mine, it was the 1990 unsolved homicides of Lisa Story and sorry, and I can't exactly remember the babysitter's name or whatever, but it was an 11-year-old girl and like a 23-year-old babysitter that also lived in the house with her and her mom. And one day when the mom got off of work, she came home and she found both the girl and the babysitter had been SA'd and murdered, strangled. Now, back then they found a ton of DNA because remember, this is 1990. Around 1990, we really don't have too much issues or whatnot. I think they were still already using DNA or, about to be using DNA. But it just told me right away that, well, this person can't be a felon or anything like that because if they were, we'd already know who it was. Well, that's where the weird thing is because in 2016, a man by the name of Jeffrey Zeiler got into an argument with his, I guess, son-in-law or stepson or some bullshit, to where he pulled out a small caliber gun of some sort or whatever, and either shot it at him or hit his son of whatever kind. I think either in an arm or a leg or something like that. Maybe just grazed him. I'm not entirely sure of that part. But in the course of all that, Jeffrey, of course, was taken into Jeffrey, who had no criminal record by this point, was taken into custody, and because of it was a shooting and everything else, they took his DNA, and I think he pled out or whatever, which also made him a felon. Which everybody knows in most of the states in the United States, if you were known um, felon and convicted, then you have to provide a DNA sample. It's just how it goes. Well, upon doing so, it took a little bit more time to do so, but apparently Jeffrey Zeiler's DNA was in the system. The detectives in the Lisa Song and something case, or Lisa Story or Song, I can't remember which. I'll probably do something real soon on that case because it was crazy. There's all kinds of crazy fucking video clips and shit about that case on YouTube. Um, well, basically, I got this big ass envelope one day, completely brown. You really can't see what the fuck is, it pertains to or whatever. So I'm like, okay. So I pop open the envelope and basically I dump out the contents. I see like a 20-page questionnaire looking thingy, a weird little postcard thing, which would literally be what you were sent any other time for jury duty in Lee County, Florida, where I'm from at least. I'm not saying everywhere, just where I'm from. And what was it? There was another small like questionnaire type thing where you had to provide a whole bunch of information about your cell phone. And then there was a small little booklet that actually involved details pertaining to the case. And on the last page of that thing, it would literally tell you, do not look this case up. We want you knowing as little as possible concerning the case. But in that little booklet or whatever, it told us about who Jeffrey's, or like the who, which is allegedly at the time Jeffrey Zeiler, the victims, their ages, the crimes that are being charged against them. Which I'm not even gonna lie to you. As soon as I closed that little fucking book of information, I was like, dude, Cape Coral double homicide from 1990 while I was alive, and I don't know about it, and it's unsolved. Phew! I hopped on the internet damn near right away. No joke. And I was pretty shocked. Like I said, it was a pretty violent, fucked up crime. I I don't even feel like getting into the details. Like I said, an 11-year-old kid and her babysitter was essayed and strangled to death. Um, I went into the trial, the jury thing. I made it to the very end, and they asked me a question that it was either I could lie about it and probably get on the jury, or I tell the truth, and I'll be asked to leave or whatever. And I don't know why, for whatever reason, I told the truth. And yes, of course, I was sent home. One of the questions I was given was, did I have any family members or close acquaintances that had ever been murdered? Now, I could have said no, and it would have been very hard for them to figure out, approve of whatever other edgewise without doing a whole ton of work. Um, but I was like, screw it. I don't feel right if I got to lie about something like that. And I said yes. And I was excused right away. Honestly, I think I should have been on the, at least at first I thought I should have been on the jury, but and once I did see the case breaking down and all this other stuff on court TV, wow, they didn't need my help. It's just common sense. This piece of shit, which you hear very rarely about, when someone actually goes up on the stand and testifies for themselves, and that's rare when it comes to killers. Like because no matter what you say, it's not like it's gonna ever help you or whatever. But this idiot seemed to think so. Yeah, I mean, honestly, the whole fact that the law states that they are supposed to be a jury of our peers. So unless you can prove that somehow, some way, that every person you picked as that jury is smarter or above me, then no, you can't call them my peers, and that's what the law states. They have to either be more intelligent, and that's got to be a proven fact, in my opinion, or just know more about the actual evidence and cases and stuff. What the hell? I said overnight. You stupid piece of shit. If it gets shut down, I'll be right back as soon as possible. But my phone's trying to run some stupid ass fucking update, and it's it just pisses